my dear students, today we will discuss the biconditional inverse, converse, and contrapositive statements. You have learned that conditional statements are true if the hypothesis and conclusion are both true. If we interchange the conclusion and the hypothesis, will the resulting conditional statement be true? In this lesson, you will be able to make a converse statement from the given conditional statement the same way an inverse and a contrapositive statement can be derived from the conditional statement. So, let's do the following. Letter A, determine if the given conditional statement is true. Letter B, switch the hypothesis and the conclusion and determine if the resulting statement is also true. Letter C, write the hypothesis and the conclusion in negative form. So, in number 1, if the triangle is equilateral, then it is equiangular. So, we all know that the equilateral triangle is a triangle in which all three sides have the same length. An equiangular triangle is a triangle where all interior angles are equal measure. So, therefore, this conditional statement is true. Letter B, switch the hypothesis and the conclusion and determine if the resulting statement is also true. So, this is the hypothesis and this is also the conclusion. So, switch the hypothesis. So, therefore, if the triangle is equiangular, then it is equilateral. And this also statement is true. Letter C, write the hypothesis and the conclusion in negative form. So, this statement, write the hypothesis and the conclusion in negative form. So, how will we do that? You will just add not. So, if the triangle is not equilateral, then it is not equiangular. Let us proceed in example number 2. If a polygon has exactly 4 sides, then it is a quadrilateral. So, polygon is a plane figure. So, if a polygon with exactly 4 sides, like square, then it is a quadrilateral, right? Because quadrilateral can be defined as closed or two-dimensional shape which has 4 straight sides. So, is this statement is true? Yes, this conditional statement is true. Letter B, switch the hypothesis and the conclusion and determine if the resulting statement is also true. Switch natin yung hypothesis and the conclusion. So, the answer, if a polygon is quadrilateral, then it has 4 equal sides. And this is also a true statement. Letter C, write the hypothesis and the conclusion in negative form. So, in this statement, you will write the hypothesis and the conclusion in negative form. So, the answer will be, if the sides of the polygon are not exactly 4, then it is not quadrilateral. Example number 3, if a man is honest, he does not steal. So, determine if the conditional statement is true. Tama naman, di ba? If a man is honest, he does not steal. So, this is true. Switch the hypothesis and conclusion. Determine if the resulting statement is true. So, hypothesis and conclusion. Switch. Switch natin. If the man does not steal, then he is honest. Can you follow? Okay, letter C. Write the hypothesis and the conclusion in negative form. So, this statement, let us write the statement which negative form. If a man is not honest, then he steals. Number 4 example, if 2 angles are supplementary, then the sum of the measures of the angles is 180 degree. So, this is very true. Switch the hypothesis and the conclusion. And then determine if the resulting statement is true. So, this is the hypothesis and this is the conclusion. So, switch natin. If the sum of the measure of two angles is 180 degree, then the angles are supplementary. Or write it into negative form. If two angles is not 180 degree, then the angles are not supplementary. Example number 5. If a volcano is active, then it will erupt. It is very true. So, kitang-kita naman, kung active ang volcano, automatic this will be erupt. Switch the hypothesis and the conclusion, and then determine if the resulting statement is also true. So, switch natin. If a volcano erupts, then it is active. Letter C, write the hypothesis and the conclusion in negative form. So, this statement, write it into negative form. If the volcano is not active, then it will not erupt. When you switch the hypothesis and conclusion of a conditional statements, you form a converse statement. So, yung ginagawa natin kanina, pag-switch ng hypothesis and conclusion, it is a called converse statement. So, let us have another example. Yung kanina, yung number 1, if the triangle is equilateral, then it is equiangular. Sinwitch natin siya. If the triangle is equiangular, then it is equilateral. So, the conditional statement is also true. An equiangular triangle is always equilateral triangle. The converse is also true. An equilateral triangle is always equiangular. Since both conditional and converse statements are true, you can connect the phrases by if and only ifs. Thus, it forms a biconditional statement. So, biconditional statements, a triangle is equilateral if and only if it is equiangular. The words if and only if implies that both conditional and inverse statements are true. So, remember, pag both conditional and converse statements are true, we can connect the phrases by if and only if. This will called biconditional statement. Let us proceed in number 2 example. Conditional statement natin, if a man is honest, he does not steal. So, sinwitch natin siya, if a man does not steal, he is honest. Yan yung converse natin kanina. The second example, both conditional and converse statements are true. The biconditional statement, a man is honest if and only if he does not steal. So, remember, i-insertan natin siya ng if and only if. Pero, remember, kailangan yung conditional and converse statements natin ay true. Doon lang natin siya papasukan ng if and only if o yung biconditional statement. So, given a biconditional statement, you can split it into conditional statement and its converse. So, meron tayong biconditional statement. Paano natin malalaman? Kapag may if and only if. Gagawin naman natin siyang conditional statements at saka converse. So, number 1, example in biconditional statements, two angles are complementary if and only if the sum of their measure is 90 degree. So, gawin natin siyang conditional statements. If two angles are complementary, then the sum of their measure is 90 degree. Gawin naman natin siyang converse. Diba? Kapag converse, switch lang natin siya. If the sum of the measure of two angles is 90 degree, then they are complementary. Both the conditional and converse statements are true. Aside from forming a converse statement from conditional statement, you can also form the inverse statement. What is inverse statement? inverse statement can be formed by negating the hypothesis and the conclusion of the conditional statement. When you negate the converse statement, you form a contrapositive statement. So, remember, can be formed by negating the hypothesis and the conclusion of the conditional statement. So, let us have an example. Number 1, a polygon with exactly 4 sides is a quadrilateral. So, gawin natin siyang conditional statement. If a polygon has exactly 4 sides, then it is an quadrilateral. So, gagawin natin siyang inverse. So, remember, inverse statement can be formed by negating the hypothesis and the conclusion of the conditional statement. Negating. So, ibig sabihin, negative yun. So, in this conditional statement, and we will proceed to inverse, if a polygon does not have exactly 4 sides, then it is not quadrilateral. So, from inverse, we will proceed to converse. So, kapag converse, switch lang natin yung ating hypothesis and conclusion. If a polygon is a quadrilateral, then it has exactly 4 sides. And then, yung contrapositive naman niya, negating ulit. Diba? Ang sabi kanina, kapag contrapositive naman, you negate the converse statement. So, yung converse statement naman natin, gagawin naman natin siya negative. If a polygon is not quadrilateral, then it does not have exactly 4 sides. Is that clear? Okay, example number 2. Two line segments of equal lengths are congruent. So, we will proceed to conditional, inverse, converse, and contrapositive. So, in these statements, gagawin natin siya conditional. If two line segments are equal in length, then they are congruent. Gawin naman natin siyang inverse. Remember, kapag inverse statement, it will form it can be formed by negating the hypothesis and conclusion of the conditional statement. So, gagawin natin siyang negating the converse statement. If two line segments are not equal in length, then they are not congruent. Okay, proceed naman tayo sa converse. So, si converse, remember, kapag converse, siniswitch natin yung hypothesis and conclusion ni conditional statements. So, if two lines segments are congruent, sinwitch natin, then they have equal lengths. Okay? Next, kapag contrapositive naman, gagawin naman natin doon, you negate the converse statement, you form contrapositive. So, if two line segments are not congruent, then their lengths are not equal. Is that clear? Okay. Get your one whole sheet of paper and then do the following activity. Write each sentence as conditional statement, inverse statement, converse statement, contrapositive statement. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.